Police catch boy of 7 who stole dad's credit card. You won't believe what happened next. Please, please, Louis begged, desperately shoving the credit card onto the pharmacist's hands. My mom needs it. However, the older man with the white coat was stunned and had no idea what to do. At some point, he walked away from the counter and dialed a number while ignoring Louis' plea for help. Finally, the pharmacist returned and raised his hands, gesturing for the 7-year-old kid to calm down. Kid, help's on the way, calm down, the older man said, and Louis started bawling in the middle of the pharmacy, attracting others' attention. You don't understand, she needs to get better, she has many cirrhosis, the boy wailed, still begging. He'd only heard part of the doctor's conversation with his mom and he didn't know the name correctly. But his mother, Miriam, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and would need to take several medications for the rest of her life. Louis didn't understand what was happening but thought his mother was dying immediately. When his absent father Kyle showed up to speak with his mother, he had an idea. Kyle had placed his jacket on top of a hospital chair and Louis stole his credit card, thinking he would immediately buy his mother's medicine. He ran to the pharmacy near the hospital in Colorado and begged for the meds to cure his mother's condition. But no one was listening to him, and when his tears dried up, he heard the sirens of cop cars. Suddenly, 2 officers walked into the store and spoke to the older man in the white coat. He pointed at Louis with an accusatory look and the boy knew he was in trouble. One of the officers came to him and kneeled to his eyes. Kid, what's going on? He asked gently. And Louis' eyes watered again, but he tried to stay calm and explain the situation. Aside from talking about his mother's diagnosis, he told him about their life. My mom needs meds, she works too much. All day, every day, so I can stay in a private school because she says I'm smart. She's all alone with me. She needs my help. My dad left us and I hadn't seen him until he came to the hospital. Louis sobbed between sentences but tried to wipe his tears and continue. He doesn't help, he has a new wife, but he was there and I grabbed his card. I can buy medicine with that, right? Louis rambled on for a few more minutes about his mother working 12-hour shifts and how his father didn't send any money. The officer listened intently until Louis was done. Kid, come with us, Officer Carlson said, standing up and placing his hand on the boy's shoulder to guide him out of the store. Am I in trouble? The boy wondered. His tears had finally dried up. Well, you were caught with a stolen credit card, kid, and you admitted to your crimes. That normally gets you arrested, Officer Carlson quipped, but Louis didn't get the humorous tone. He swallowed thickly and walked looking down, worrying about causing even more trouble for his sick mother. He was escorted to the squad car and he had no idea what they would say to his parents. But to his shock, they approached the hospital instead of a police station. Officer Carlson told him to point him towards his mother's room, and Louis obliged. Louis, where have you been? Miriam asked breathlessly when the boy walked into the room with a cop. Louis saw his father stand up from his chair beside the hospital bed and frown at the cop. Sir, can I speak to you for a minute? Officer Carlson said to Kyle, and the adult man walked out into the hallway. Louis ran to his mother and cried into her belly while she soothed him. It's okay, it's okay. Everything's okay, mommy's okay, she crooned, although she was confused by her kid's tears. When the men came back, Kyle looked whiter and ashamed, but he approached the bed and looked straight at his son. I'm so sorry, son. I know I've been absent, but that changes now. I'm gonna help you both out. It's my duty. His dad swore, and Louis could see the tears in the grown man's eyes. Really? Louis asked, wiping more tears away. Really, Kyle promised again and hugged his child. They later explained to Louis that his mother wasn't dying. She had a condition that needed to be managed with medicine, and Kyle had appeared because Miriam's sister told him about it. He was already ashamed of abandoning his son, but Officer Carlson gave him the scolding he needed to snap out of it and start fulfilling his responsibilities. He and Miriam would never get back together, but he would pay child support and alimony. Once Miriam learned to handle her disease, she went back to work. With the new monetary help, she didn't even need to exert herself too much. Louis also visited his father on the weekends and they reconnected, which Louis never expected. But the biggest surprise was Officer Carlson, who visited them several times while Miriam was still in the hospital, and even more often when she was discharged. At first, he pretended he was checking up on them, but the truth came out pretty quickly. He and Louis' mother dated for a few years and married when Louis was 12. Louis never had to worry about his mother being alone or helpless ever again.